As you said, I've been involved since day one. I bought shares at the very beginning. I love this piece of property. I looked at Nevada over my 20-year career in Nevada. I've looked at this area in detail several times, and I feel it's a critical part of a very prolific gold trend. One of the beautiful things, before I start, forward-looking statement. Look, the presentation is posted on the website. I urge you to read through it, and that includes this forward-looking statement. One of the beautiful things about NuLegacy is this. In the past couple of years, they've put together one of the best teams in Nevada, probably on the planet, quite frankly, in terms of exploration. They've got a team of folks who, mainly from Barrick, who have operated in this area, and they've discovered lots and lots of gold. So they know these systems. They know what they're doing. They've done good science in the past couple of years. They've really built up this target, and it's absolutely delightful to talk about it. You can see the share structure at present. I'm not going to focus too much. It is a lot of shares out, guys. I look at it as an opportunity to buy a lot of shares. You can see Oceana Gold and Barrick Gold are very large shareholders, as well as several funds. What I want to focus on is the story. You can see here two yellow circles. This is northern Nevada, and what you're seeing are two gold trends. The top one is the Carlin gold trend, and most of the exploration there focused from 1980s to 1990s, found many deposits north of 10 million ounces, and it kind of culminated in 1987 with the post-Betsy discovery, which is right there. Okay, so this area was largely explored a few decades ago. But now I'm going to talk about this area. Look, this area, the Cortez area, has seen great exploration and good discoveries. Pipeline is over 20 million ounces. Cortez Hills is over 15. Goldrush, the most recent discovery, is well north of 10 now. But look at where we're at. We're right inside this yellow circle. What I see missing out of this yellow circle, and I think is very exciting, is a possibility that there's a big deposit like this one somewhere down in this circle. All right, this is a zoom in of the Cortez area. You can see the pipeline deposit up here. This is Cortez Hills right there. And then you have the Goldrush deposit here. This valley, as well as this valley right here, these are rift valleys. Basically, this mountain range has been pulled apart from this mountain range. And this mountain range has been pulled apart from the one that's further northwest here. As it's done this over the past few million years, these deposits have been broken up. So Pipeline, which is right here, used to be connected to Cortez Hills. And Goldrush, which is right here, used to be connected to, well, that's what we're going to find out. So right in this area, if you do the pre-extension connection, there should be a continuation of the Goldrush deposit. This slide shows some of the metrics around these wonderful deposits. They make a lot of money. You can see, and they generate lots and lots of gold. So Barrick is producing from both of these assets now, or I should say Barrick and Newmont in their joint venture in northern Nevada. Look, these deposits, they don't come along all that often, but when they find them, they produce a lot of money and also a lot of value. You can see the cash flows that are generated by these things. Here we are down in this little block. It looks like an innocuous block kind of off to the side. In fact, it is very important. That deposit, the rest of it, is potentially over here in what we call the rift anticline. All right, this slide shows you the Goldrush deposit, some metrics here. It was found in 2008. Within 3 years, it was up to a world-class, tier 1 asset. This little map shows the drill pattern around the Goldrush deposit. You can see there's a lot of black holes. Look at this. There's a lot of dusters, we'll call them, around the deposit. But when you're in it, you're in it. This is basically a map of grade thickness. It shows how tight and how constricted the gold is. But boy, when you find these things, they are wonderful deposits. All right, this map shows the Goldrush deposit juxtaposed against our property position at Red Hill. All right, there's plenty of room to host something like this within this newly defined rift anticline target here. And that's going to be the main focus of my presentation today is all the good science that's been done recently to really flesh out and develop this target. It's a truly exciting story. This is a zoom in. It shows simply the targets that we have. Tier 1 targets are labeled in orange. You have the Tier 2 in blue, and then you have the gray, which is Tier 3. We're going to look at a section right through here. This is a geologic section in the next image that shows some of the work that's been done mainly over here in the east in the iceberg area. All right, so you can see there's a lot of drill holes, and most of these drill holes have hit appreciable gold. You can see some of the very nice intercepts that are reported here. And these are truly Carlin-style mineralization. There's an inset box here that shows you what this stuff looks like. It's hosted by sedimentary rocks. Pretty innocuous-looking stuff, quite frankly. But boy, when it comes to gold, these things can sure crank out some grade. There's some very nice grades, and these are the kind of intercepts you'd want to see around a discovery. But we're in the eastern fringe of something much bigger. Kind of use your eye and notice how, as you go across this section, you can see the system is stepping down to the west, okay, or to the left here, and it's going into this rift anticline target, which we've now developed and kind of fleshed out. That's going to be our main focus. This is simply the smoke. We'll call it the exhaust coming out of a much, much bigger system. Okay, the image you see here, this shows you the rift anticline target with respect to that area I just showed you. So most of those drill holes are the ones that are labeled right there. We're going to step off to the west here. Again, we're going to project that gold event or that gold horizon and tag it all the way down into this feature right here, which we call an anticline, which is basically the geologic term for an upward fold or flexure in some strata or geologic rocks. This is our interpretation from CSAMT. These green lines that you see here are geophysical data that was collected a couple of years ago. CSAMT looks at electromagnetic properties of rocks, in particular the electrical resistivity of rocks, and it allows differentiation of different rock units. So it's basically like looking sort of like an X-ray of the subsurface. Okay, through that effort, the company has come up with a reinterpretation. So that area we were looking at earlier was over here on the far right. All right, so that's where all those very nice drill holes were located. And notice that the sedimentary units gradually come down here through the rift anticline. Now, remember I said this is an upward flexure. Well, why is this thing dipping? That's a little odd. Well, if you look in detail, this is actually bowed upwards. Okay, so this is a series of rocks that have been bowed upwards, but they've also been subsequently faulted. All these little lines here are little stair-step faults that gradually shift this body of rock down, down, down into the ground. Nonetheless, it is an anticline. The other thing I'd point out here is the unit that's most favorable to us, this thing we call the DW5, the wind band 5, is actually getting thicker, subtly thicker as you go westward. So it starts up here, it's maybe 20 meters thick. As you go through here, they hit a pretty thick section in hole 1801, and now from CSAMT we're seeing evidence that there should be a very thick section. This is good. This means we have a nice thick section to host an ore body. All right, here's a close-up of that CSAMT. Now, I'm going to give everyone in the audience a little bit of homework. What I want you to do when you get some time is go to Google Chrome and type in the words cross-section post-Betze, spelled Betze, B-E-T-Z-E. All right, now click on images. When you get that search up, click on images and look at cross-sections through post-Betze, and then look at what we're illustrating right here with this interpretation of what we think is the target in the rift anticline. So we're zoomed into that area where the rocks are upbowed, and we think there's an extensive unit and thick unit, the DW5, wind band 5, that could potentially be mineralized through here. All right, so our target is very well defined at this point. It's highlighted by this geophysics. Imagine this is the kind of target you're going to test by simply drilling offensive holes through this section. So you're going to drill hole after hole after hole like this and probe down to this critical level within the system and hopefully tag that kind of ore body. All right, this slide shows you some of the aspects of that thickness I was talking about. Wind band 5 is about 76 meters at Goldrush, of which 50 to 75 meters are mineralized. Over there in the east area that we were drilling previously, it's quite thin. It's on the order of 10 or 20 meters thick, and we're seeing intervals of about 9, 10 meters, something like that. In the rift anticline, where we're now targeting our effort, we're seeing evidence of wind band up to 90 meters thick, which is wonderful. That means you have a lot of host rock. This part is what we're going to try to determine. Our thesis is let's poke some holes in that feature, and let's see if we can find something akin to the post-Betsy deposit. This is a nice three-dimensional model of that target. Simply illustrates the concept in very, very concrete terms. You can see that this geology that you see here will project in and out of the section for quite some distance. Remember, Goldrush is a long, skinny deposit. So if we have a profile like this, it's going to project both north and south out of this section. But nonetheless, if we drill a series of holes, offensive holes, and we tag this particular targeted unit, our hope is to find the mothership down there, and hopefully it's a quite large deposit. All right. With that, we raised money recently. We now have enough in the Treasury to undertake some further CSAMT work. You can see some lines that we're going to use to augment our understanding of the subsurface in here. Those are shown in pink. That work is going on right now. But really the goal is to get ready for a drill program, which starts in October, pending permitting. These are the steps. These are the steps that are involved in getting permits. Look, this is a new day in mining. You have to file a plan of operations to give you enough footprint or enough space to do exploration. It requires a lot of environmental and baseline work, but once you get that, you have the ability to aggressively test the target like this. Now notice, we're also doing science while we're waiting for drilling, so we're doing some science that you see illustrated here in anticipation of receiving that permit in September, and that leaves us to drill the target, these fences of holes, in October. All right, so this is a wonderful time to take a look at NuLegacy and also come to a decision whether you'd like to try to invest in what could be a very, very large discovery. Just to put this in perspective, look, this is an amazing list of people involved here. They don't have the backgrounds, but Alex Davidson, Barrick, a long-term Barrick, did wonderful things here. Albert's a seasoned, mining company. He started Alamos, okay? Ed Cope, former vice president of Barrick. I've known Ed for quite some time. I could go through everyone here. Mark Bradley, a seasoned explorer with Barrick. I mean, my gosh, they've got a Charles too. Everyone on this list contributes invaluably to this exercise. This is a wonderful, wonderful story, wonderful team. It's a very easy story for me to tell. I think that this is one of the exceptional stories. We're really the only junior company operating within those yellow circles. Think about that. We have a chance of finding an elephant. With that, I will end. Thank you very much.